Welcome to the Acecall.ai podcast, where we help golf club managers win with AI. Running a golf club today is harder than ever, so we created simple AI solutions and a podcast to make it easier for you. I'm Clayton Elliott.
And I'm Brad Milligan. Together, we bring a mix of entrepreneurial innovation and decades of golf club management experience to help you optimize your club, increase profitability, and elevate the member experience. So let's dive in.
Thanks, Brad. Today, we are diving into a big issue that's been making waves in golf for some time now, and it's something that every golf manager really needs to be paying attention to because, as the saying goes, demographics is destiny, and the demographics of golf, they are changing.
That's right, Clay. What we're talking about is the growing generational gap in golf. Millennials and Gen Z are approaching the sport very differently from baby boomers and Gen X, and this shift has some serious implications for golf course managers. And as much as it may trigger or offend you to hear this, if clubs don't adapt, they're going to be left behind.
Yeah, and who wants that, right? So today we're gonna break down what's causing this gap, what younger players want, what the Gen Zs and the millennials and the Zoomers want. Sorry, those are the millennials. Yeah, Zoomers, Gen Z. What younger players want essentially, and how golf managers can bridge the divide, close the gap.
Yeah, it's important to close that gap. We'll throw in some actionable takeaways that managers can start implementing right away to future-proof their golf business. All right, let's get into it.
All right, Brad. So let's start with the traditional golf audience, boomers and Gen X. These are the folks who've essentially formed the backbone of golf for decades and decades, right?
Yeah, exactly. Baby boomers and Gen X golfers love the game for its competitive nature, exclusivity, and social networking opportunities. They tend to be longtime members of private clubs. They value the traditions, and they don't mind the structured etiquette of the sport.
Definitely. And they're willing to spend, too, if I'm not mistaken, high-end gear, initiation fees and membership dues, house minimums, lessons, and destination golf trips. These are the customer, the clientele that have historically driven golf course revenues across the board.
Yeah. Yes. Historically. But the problem is, as this demographic ages, they're not being replaced at the same rate by younger players. We're literally keeping our dying Western nations afloat through endless replacement migration. So the children of our oldest members are not playing like their parents and grandparents. And that's those who have children and grandchildren. The majority of the newcomers to Canada and the U.S. will not be picking up golf as a pastime, nor will many of their kids for a generation. A big business to get into in the future might be renting access to giant cricket pitches, but that's for another conversation. All you as a general manager need to know and accept is that millennials and Gen Z golfers just aren't joining traditional clubs in the same way. So clubs need to do a better job at adapting and adjusting their offerings to appeal to this future customer base.
So that raises the big question, right? So what do younger golfers actually want? What is it that's going to make them this sport, the traditional sport of golf, appeal to them?
Well, let's touch on exactly that. We need to address some underlying issues as to what their wants are going forward in the industry.
They are changing wants. So then what's their deal? Tell me about, your lens of millennials and Gen Z. Why aren't they flocking to golf clubs the way previous generations did? How did the sport, the appeal of golf change so much?
Yeah, it's a combination of factors, but the biggest shift is that they see golf differently. For them, it's more about socializing and entertainment than tradition and competition. They're drawn to things like Topgolf, simulator golf, and shorter rounds of golf with less holes. They also want more junior and family-focused ways of incorporating their family members who may be on the fence about golf, but want to include them in the game they love so much.
Yeah, it's good points. People are bad at something, they don't like to play it. They don't like to do it. So, they may have hesitant significant others who they see starting a difficult game. It's not an easy game to get proficient at, right? They see it as a hurdle, really too high to jump and not really worth the effort. They also definitely love technology, right? They want easy online booking. They've been accustomed to this. They're used to this now. Easy online booking, digital scorecards, gamified experiences. They're also, the Gen Z and millennials, they're also more likely to try to learn golf through YouTube tutorials rather than formal coaching.
Yeah, that's a big problem there in general, Clay, is them trying to learn on YouTube to play golf. That's a whole other episode. Let's stick to it though. Let's not forget the cost. The high price of club memberships is a huge deterrent. Most young people can barely afford to exist in Western nations now. So most younger golfers who are not affluent or super affluent prefer a pay-as-you-play model or public courses that are more affordable and flexible.
Okay, so if you're a golf club manager, what does this mean for your business? What does this mean for your industry? What does this mean for your career? Well, as you mentioned, clubs are going to have to rethink the way they market and structure their offerings.
Exactly. Which leads us to our next section. What's driving this gap and what golf managers can do about that?
Okay, so let's dig into that. Let's talk about the key factors behind this generational divide, this gap, what's driving it. And first up on the list, cost and accessibility are really two of the most prohibitive barriers to the sport. So, Brad, what's happening here? How is this driving the growing gap?
Well, I mean, it's simple, right? Golf has gotten expensive. Everything's more expensive, but golf's really up there between equipment, course fees, and memberships. It's just not as accessible as it used to be. It also can be intimidating for newer golfers, like you mentioned above. And instead of going through the sharp learning curve, they may just decide to do something else with their leisure time.
Yeah, very true. And younger generations have different spending habits. They have different expendable income and different priorities. And the younger generations typically prioritize short, fun experiences over long-term investments. And, it could be just part of the upbringing, the cultural, generational divide. It spans a lot more than just golf. Younger generations are wired for immediate gratification. And that's why the short, fun experiences. Long-term investments requires a lot of delayed gratification. Golf is a game of delayed gratification. You're going to be bad at it for quite some time before you're good at it. And then before you're competitively good at it, it requires definitely some more long-term investments. So like a $20 round at a par 3 course sounds a lot better to them than a $300 a month membership.
Yeah,
that makes sense?
Definitely, Clay. Yeah, 100%. The second issue is golf can be a big time commitment. An 18-hole round takes 4 to 5 hours, sometimes 6 hours if it's a crazy tournament round. For a generation with packed schedules and short attention spans, that's a tough sell.
Yeah, and like I said, they want something quick, fun, and engaging, right? That's why things like 9-hole rounds, things like speed golf, things like, innovating on the social experiences of things at places like Topgolf, like you mentioned, these are growing fast. They're not struggling business models. They're actually growing.
Yeah. And there's the impact of social media and digital engagement, right? Millennials and Gen Z are getting into golf through YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, where influencers make the sport look fun and accessible. YouTube golf, believe it or not, is starting to steal a lot of viewership from the PGA Tour, Live Golf, and other professional tours. Gone are the days of watching 6 hours of dry broadcasting. YouTube golfers have millions of subscribers and draw in younger crowds who want to keep up with the trends and see mic'd up, normal people enjoying the game. We'll do multiple in-depth episodes about this trend and how it's also permanently disrupting the traditional game and culture and entertainment of golf that we're also familiar with. These YouTube golf influencers are the future of golf and something that clubs need to pay attention to if they want to increase their appeal to the next generation of golf enthusiasts.
Yeah, it's a pretty disruptive trend and phenomenon, is just these online influencers. It's reality TV that's like the next generation enjoy a lot more. They trust it a lot more. Not to say these brands, these online influencers can't be scripted and engineered as much as any reality show, but it is more reality. The younger generations and just people in general who are aware of influencers, they do give them a lot more trust than people probably should, to be totally honest. But okay, so golf managers, they really do, they need to be thinking about this digital shift, right? And how their brand appears to the world online and to their local market online, not just their core audience they've been serving for the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 plus years, right? So you got to ask themselves, do you have a YouTube channel? Are you even on social media, any social media? Do you have an account that you never post on, or you post on like twice a year, right? Are you making it easy for younger golfers or aspirational wannabe golfers to creep your profiles and learn about your club as they do all other businesses that they are assessing, that they're considering in the market? If not, you're already behind the curve. You're already playing catch up.
Oh, big time. Yeah, they sure are. They're way behind the curve, right? And if I'm being completely honest, a lot of clubs, they're way behind the curve on this, right? So many club managers are comfortable serving an older clientele who don't care about social media, influencers, or tech innovation. So they've never needed to think or worry about this for their entire career. But now in 2025 and beyond, they definitely do need to be thinking about this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Demographics is destiny. It is what it is. It's like you can't fight it. It's like fighting the rising and rising tide. It's like it's these things are just like facts. You have to deal with them. So the only thing that really makes us stubborn humans, like open to change and accepting change when it's happening when we don't want it to happen, is really our pain and our suffering. And even then, like, many people will just suffer in silence, or they'll complain about it, but they'll never really fix anything. And so this is not one of those problems that will just go away on its own or fix itself. The demographic change of golf and of all industries. And if club managers don't take real action to get ahead of it, the implications of these problems will only magnify and multiply with every year, with literally every passing year. Because, the challenges are manifold. They're not isolated individual things. They're multiple challenges that kind of play into each other. And if you don't know what they are, don't know how to address them or respond to them, then, it's time. It's time to pay attention to this. So, all right, I think we've dug into the problem enough. I think now let's quickly dig into some of the solutions. So how can golf club managers bridge this gap in generation?
Clay, yeah. First, rethink your membership models. Instead of traditional annual memberships, consider more flexible options like seasonal passes or pay-as-you-play programs. Know what your club is about. They're all different, and adapt based on the feedback you receive. What works for Club A may not work for Club B. Second, embrace technology. Invest in products that cultivate the best experiences for your golfers. Lots of clubs already use mobile booking systems, GPS-enabled carts, have simulators, and have the most advanced teaching aids. A lot still don't, though, or aren't keeping up with the trends that do work. General managers need to decide where there are gaps in technology and provide value to their golfers. Make golf feel friendly, fun, engaging, modern, and accessible.
Yeah, those are good points. And I would say in third, create social golf events that appeal to a wider segment of the public. This is depending on your club. Like you just mentioned, doesn't work for all clubs. You have to do this It has to match the scent of your brand. If you have a high-end exclusive, limited access private club with a 10-year waiting list, like, you don't got to do glow-in-the-dark themed nights or social leagues, but you might have to do something that appeals to the younger players, because you do want the kids of your clientele taking over their parents' memberships and continuing on, in the tradition of your club. So if there's nothing that appeals to them, you might be losing them to clubs that do appeal to them, because, hate to break it, but a lot of the young boys and girls kind of go where the other boys and girls are. And if there's a club doing something really cool that's hip and down with the times of the kids and the younger generations, and they're drawing all the young, pretty boys and girls, the kids aren't going to want to go to the stuffy club that their parents and grandparents went to. That isn't fun. That has no other young people their age. It's only so fun to be, playing golf with people 40 years older than you or 50 years older than you. And, you can only have, again, personally, I enjoy hanging out with much older people. I learn a lot from them, but I'm, over 40 years old myself. But the younger generations, they are not, saving up their time and energy and their allowance or their weekly salary to go play golf at a more traditional club that doesn't have a good quantity of the opposite sex there for them to interact with, right? This really is the value system. A lot of these younger generations, right? They're driven a lot by these incentives to focus and bring their time and to give their time and energy to certain things. So yeah, anything glow-in-the-dark theme events, theme nights, social leagues, right? Those can make the sport more appealing to younger players.
Yeah, you nailed a lot of good things there, Clay. Clubs, they need diversity in their programming. That's what they really need. I was a part of a spousal introductory program when I worked at Scarborough.
Yeah, this sounded cool.
Yeah. It was a huge success, right? Everybody I tell this about this program, they're just like, oh, that sounds awesome. So it gave newer golfers, mostly wives of members who didn't have much experience in golf, a chance at trying out the feel of being at a club, learning about the game and having fun while keeping it very casual and engaging. They could play 29-hole rounds, had access to several clinics and lessons, and we hosted 3-hole socials where they would play with the golf pros, learn about on-course etiquette and rules, and then have a drink and some appetizers afterwards. Programs like this can open up a new potential market and give newer golfers a taste of the club experience without overly committing or breaking the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me a little more. What do you mean by they can play 29-hole rounds? Like 20 times 9-hole rounds, like 20 different, or
it's just that when you're starting out, you don't necessarily want to play 18 holes. And I've heard this from a lot, because it's like you go out there, you really aren't that great at the game. You're just kind of, you're keeping up. You feel like you're taking up a lot of time. You're getting in people's way. There's this whole that's been my kind of resistance myself. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, you're like, oh, am I ruining people's day behind me? Is that what's happening right now? Because I'm taking 12 shots to get it in the hole, and right, I want my money's worth. I don't want to. It's not like I'm going to pick up my ball after 3 shots and be like, oh, I'm sucking this hole, move on. It's like, I paid money for this, so I want some value here. But a lot of newer golfers just want to play 9 holes, right? Or 7 holes, or whatever loop you have at your golf course that you can actually do and get off the course, right? So that's why we're offering them, 29-hole rounds, not making it so that they were being nailed for 18 holes. We would make sure that they were only cut off at 9. And then if they wanted to play 18, they would just count it as 2 9-hole rounds or whatever. But it was just this sort of this program where we're trying to accommodate, we're trying to make you guys enjoy yourselves so that you do join the club. The idea was to join the club at the end of the day, become a full member, and move forward that way.
%. Yeah, it's basic marketing. You got to get the first one's free, right? As they say, right? The sample. People need a sample, and it's not just the green and the golf. That's a big experience, but it is the treatment, had a thought. I'm losing my train of thought right now.
All good.
Anyways, so what you're saying, these are good ideas to just accommodate members, innovate with the packaging of the play and the experiences. These are great ideas. So, but I guess like the main thing here that we've touched on is how to keep your members engaged, as well as potential members, as well as all the guests, all the club guests engaged and excited, and have them like understand the club and understand that the club really is going out of their way and spending time and effort and energy with their best interests in mind. It makes sense, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. Any final thoughts about the subject?
Yeah, I mean, the last thing that must be addressed that we haven't talked about yet is junior programming, right? Because that's your next generation of golfers. So kids who get on the
continuity.
course,
that's the generational continuity.
Exactly. And kids who get on the course at a younger age and love it, keep playing the game for the rest of their lives, right? So it's that initial phase of them getting on the golf course. Do they have a good time? They don't even need to play well. I've seen this with countless children, is that if they're having a good time and they're laughing and they're getting a positive experience, it doesn't even matter if they play well. And if you have good coaches who are like, don't even worry about how you play. Like this is all about having a good time and just being out here and joking around. Like that goes so far. So there are too many junior specific programs to list here, but I had great success with programs like Mission 36, junior pro-am simulator events, junior camps are huge, and clinics. And there's so many other events I could list off, but got to keep it under wraps here. And kids love their tech now too and adapt quickly to it. They don't have the same hesitancy as the generations before them. If you keep your juniors happy, their parents will be happy too. And that's really what matters.
Yeah. And that's it's the first rule of marketing to kids is the kids may be the consumers of your product, but the parents are the ones who pay for it. And the parents will pay for it if it makes their kids shut up. The parents will pay for it if it keeps their kids busy and keeps them from annoying them. The parents will pay for it if it's beneficial to their kids, like mental health, physical health, well-being, overall, just development, character development, personality development, discipline, all those things, right? If it checks all those boxes, parents are like, oh yeah, this is great for my kid. I want to buy it. But then if the kid's like, this is boring, I don't like it. I'm not good at it, right? Then the parents are like, you don't understand. It's good for you. You need it. It's going to help you. The kid's like, no, I don't want it. And then once they dig their heels in, it's done. But like you were saying, the kids don't care if they're good at not, like competent. They don't have a bar to compare themselves to of what is really, really good and what is not kind of good and what is really bad, right? It's just them getting out there doing it. And any wins when you're trying to like get behavioral change in anybody, could be an adult, could be anybody, any age, any demographic, any gender, it doesn't matter. It wins. People aren't getting wins. They're not going to keep doing something, right? If it makes them feel incompetent and inept, they're gonna go and they're gonna do something else. They're gonna default back to what they're good at. And a lot of these young kids, their thing is video games. If you get them out into golf and they do it and they feel like they have, two left hands, two left feet, and they feel like a novice, like a beginner, they don't feel like they have mastery. They don't feel like they have any, what's the word? Prowess, right? There's not like this like sense of like formidableness that a lot of these young boys, but also a lot of girls in online video games, where they get in there and their avatars in the games are strong and powerful and competent and dominant and they win, right? They have a score. And so they're used to that. You bring them into this world and it takes them some time to warm up to it. And back to the whole solutions, if you're using software correctly in your golf club that allows you to free up more of your staff and make them available for these kind of junior experiences, then, it just kind of compounds. You have kids that are happy and they're getting encouraged and They're getting the coaching, they're getting the mentoring, the support, just the attention, right? And the parents see it too. The parents are like, wow, this is good. I'm going to stick with this. If I stick with this, my kid will stick with this. And if my kid sticks with this, my kid will eventually get good. And then we can grow up doing this together, right? It's every golfing parent's dream, I imagine, to at least be able to go out there and, bang out 18 holes with your son or daughter and have a great time doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, that truly is, man. You nailed it. Like they want to bring their whole family to the golf course. Some men, it's kind of their escape from their family, but then you have the other ones for like real family, men, and they want their wives there. They want their kids there. And yeah, they're trying to breed that next generation and show how much they love the game and then share that with their family. Right. So it's massive to keep your kids really, really, at the forefront of this entire process, or else going forward, they're not gonna keep up with the game. They're not going to take on the game. So really nurturing your juniors is absolutely massive.
Yeah. Take care of the next generation.
Yes, sir.
Boomers, Gen X, take care of your next generations, guys. Yeah. Otherwise, the beautiful game of golf will slowly fade into the distance of history. So,
that's right.
Okay. So what have we learned today? The generational gap in golf is real. Demographics is destiny, but golf managers can take steps now to start to begin to engage younger players and keep their clubs and their courses and their offerings relevant to this new generation.
Yeah, there you go, Clay. The key is adaptability. Clubs that modernize their offerings, embrace technology, and focus on social, inclusive experiences will thrive. Those that resist change will struggle.
Yeah, struggles, putting it nicely. So if you're a golf club manager, take a hard look at your generational and demographic changes in your area, in your locale, and, make decisions, look at those and how do those changes inform and influence your club's policies, your offer crafting, your marketing and communications. All right. Are you welcoming younger players? Are you marketing effectively to younger players? Are you marketing effectively to the parents and the adults who are your members who have younger children who are maybe not yet playing, right? Are you making golf fun and accessible? Even if you have a high-end, traditional, conservative club, is there a way that you can increase the fun factor, I guess, for lack of a better word, to just make it more appealing and accessible to next generations?
Yeah. These are all really, really strong points. And again, if you need ideas, go back and listen to this episode again. We've laid out plenty of strategies to help you bridge the gap.
Yeah. And yesterday's episode, we talked, not yesterday's, but the previous episode 8, we talked about 21 different ways, applications for voice AI that can help with your club's operations. This is, again, one of the ways to appeal to the younger demographic is to make the experience at your club fit with their experience with so many other businesses that they interact with and do business with. So that's it for today's episode. We're coming in right on time. So if you enjoyed this discussion, do be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to your audios. Please leave a review. That's huge for us. It helps other people in this sector, in the golf club management industry, who may be on your podcast, whatever app you're using, right? If you leave a review, even 5 reviews, 10 reviews is better than none. And right now we're just getting rolling with this podcast. We're on episode 9. We have a few reviews on a number of different, we call them distribution hubs. But we could always use more. So we appreciate your reviews. Share this episode with your fellow golf industry professionals and reach out to us at 1-866-838-8581, toll free, 1-866-838-8581, and have a chat with our demo voice AI receptionist and let her know that you want to set up a free consultation and discovery call with us to discuss AI solutions for your golf club.
Good stuff, Clay. And don't forget to follow us on social media for more tips on growing and managing your golf business. Thanks for tuning in to the Acecall.ai podcast, where we help golf club managers win with AI. And we'll see you next time.